It's math preparation for the Compass. We're not going to be working with our Mathtastic Moolah today. We've got the Compass test coming up on March 25th, so we're going to have a presentation to hopefully help you with that. ACT Compass is not timed. It's on the computer. Most of you have taken that at the beginning of the year. The test starts with their questions in beginning algebra. If you get the questions right, then you move on to higher math levels. If you miss them, then you move down to lower levels. You receive your results immediately. Post-secondary institutions use this information to place you in the appropriate math classes. Any foundation classes needed will not receive college credit for math. Our data from the beginning of the school year is this. We had 56 students that needed 3 math foundation classes. If you go to college, that's going to cost you $516 for each one of those classes. That'll cost you $1,548. We had 46 students that need 2, 26 students that needed 1, and we had 8 students that are college ready. I'm really hoping to improve on that. And if you're one of the students that needed 3 classes, try to improve so that you only need 2 classes or maybe 1 class. So again, here's our percents for our data. I'm hoping to improve on that when you take this Compass the next time. Compass test and the ACT test includes this information: numerical skills in pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and college algebra. The ABCs of preparation for the Compass test or the ACT test, any standardized test, is review the relevant math content. You've had math ever since you've been in school that is relevant, and you may have forgotten some of it. So never miss a problem just because you didn't take the time to review the material. Today we're going to learn some specific strategies that apply to the ACT and the Compass, and then connect what you know to the test by doing problems from practice Compass tests. These are available on the internet. You can get on there and just type in Compass test and they'll give you practice problems. We're also going to be using, next week, we'll be doing a practice Compass test. Okay, let's take a minute and review some relevant math content. I'm not going to go over this individually, but if it was me, as I was going through this math content, I would mark information that I did know at one time so that I could go back and review it before I take the test next Friday. This first sheet is the ACT math formulas. You have this. And again, I'm not going to go through this individually, but that's factoring cubes. This is geometry, special triangles, come down, linear equations. We've worked with that. Y equals mx plus b, the slope, rise over run. B is the y-intercept. Here's circles, ellipse, parabolas. Here's some trig functions. And again, here's graphing trig functions or having a trig equation. Appendix A is working with pre-algebra and statistics. On this, these are all concepts that we covered at the first of the year. You've got to be able to work with fractions, decimals, and percents. You've got, again, fractions, order of operations, evaluating expressions, simplifying, scientific notation, proportion, statistics. Remember when we did the mean, median, and mode? Mean is the average, median is the middle number, mode is the most often. Here we have probability. We really didn't do too much with probability, but that's a fairly easy concept that you can look over. The next sheet is working with algebra, and again, here's some number systems, multiplying polynomials. We did that with the FOIL method of multiplication. We've got our rational equations. We didn't do too much with that. And then we had factoring. I gave you a whole worksheet on that, and we practiced on factoring. This sheet is on algebra. Again, it's continuing it. Systems of equations, we really didn't hit that. Exponents, we did a little bit with that. We've got solving equations, you know how to do that. Square roots, we worked with that. Solving inequalities, we didn't do too much with that. But again, if you've had that in a math class, that's something that you can review. Those are good things for you to look at. Next one is geometry, and again, if you've never been in geometry, this might not help you that much, but here's a review of a lot of the definitions, our special triangles that a lot of you use. Again, here's some formulas down here that you might use. I am going to stop and talk a little bit about these parallel lines because they're talking about corresponding angles, and they'll go through measure of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 5 because of corresponding angles. Down here they talk about alternate interior angles, and they talk about same side interior angles. All of this information right here can be summed up with these three equations that I put on your sheet. A small angle is an acute angle, and 2, 3, 6, 7 are all small angles. My large angles, 1, 4, 5, and 8. I know if I have parallel lines that all the small angles are equal to the small angles. I know that all the large angles are equal to the large angles, and I know that the small angle plus the large angle will always equal 180 degrees. And when you have a problem on an ACT or Compass and they start talking about parallel lines, chances are you're going to use one of those three equations to solve for it. Makes it much easier than memorizing all those pieces of information. We've got some other geometry circles, and again, I'm not going to go over those, but if you've had geometry, review that before you go to the Compass. Here's advanced algebra and trig, and as we progress into these higher math classes, there's going to be fewer and fewer students that will recognize what we're talking about here. Again, if you're in a pre-calculus class, look through here and review some of these concepts that you may need on